Support for this special edition of Red Blue Hoops comes from the law firm of Jackson Kelly, PLLC, Timothy Weir, IU School of Medicine of Evansville, and Evansville Teachers Federal Credit Union. From the banks of the Ohio River in Evansville, Indiana, this is Red Blue Hoops with fanatical Red host Chad Payton and obsessive Blue host Evan Beck.
Welcome, everyone, to the award-winning Red Blue Hoops here on your WNIN 88.3. For a special edition show tonight, you can give us a call, 812-426-7400, or tweet us at Red Blue Hoops. I am Evan Beck, your voice for the Kentucky Wildcats, and joining me again tonight for the special edition of Red Blue Hoops is the voice for the Indiana Hoosiers, Chad Payton. Chad, welcome to tonight's special show.
Evan, I can't believe it. It's weird of walking up to these stairs, and it's sunny outside, it's warm, and we're still talking hoops.
That's right.
Absolutely. A lot of good stuff's, or a lot of crazy stuff's happened in the past few weeks, especially with Indiana. So, a lot to cover tonight.
A lot to cover tonight. We discussed this at the end of the regular season for Red Blue Hoops that obviously Crean was on the outs at that point in time.
Yeah.
And we said whenever they made a hire of a new coach, we had to come in here and do a special show. Congratulations on your new hire.
Absolutely. Archie Miller, a great hire. Actually, you know what's funny, too? Driving to the show tonight, I saw Tom Crean on the Lloyd Expressway. Said, need change. But I thought he got paid $4 million to walk away, so things have really went south for OTC.
I don't think Tommy Crean's hurting for any cash right now.
No, he should be good.
$4 million buyout. Does he get that in increments or in lump sum? Do you know?
I think it's going to be a lump sum at the end of the year, maybe, because if he takes a different job or if he works for ESPN and makes money, that's deducted.
It's like it's a declining.
That's right.
Yep.
So, and he did do some things with ESPN during the tournament. So
how did he do? I heard some good remarks on his analysis work.
He's pretty good at that. That's why I think, I don't know, I always thought he'd be better in the NBA, either as an assistant or a scout or something, because his analysis of play is better than his coaching ability.
Application.
Yeah,
he can talk it but can't apply it.
That's right. It's kind of weird.
Has there been any rumors about where he's going to go or what he's going to do? I mean, obviously, right out of the gate, we had people calling in guaranteeing that he was going to go to Missouri, which was incorrect.
Yeah.
Then we had people guaranteeing he was going to get the LSU job, obviously incorrect. But has there been any other talk about where he's going to land?
I found it kind of strange. I thought, oddly enough, when when Archie went to Indiana, I thought that Dayton might be a decent landing spot for Crean, a mid-major, and
just a coaching swap.
Coaching swap there.
Dayton's not that stupid.
Yeah, no kid. Well, it kind of makes you wonder what people think about Crean in a way, because there were a lot of jobs that were open.
Right there at the same time.
LSU,
yep.
Georgetown, Dayton, California. I mean, there was a lot of. And he didn't get the call. So at least we don't think he did. He might have turned some things down. I don't know.
Well, I must say, as you know, I'm going to really miss Tom Crean.
Yeah, I bet you
tremendously.
are.
I mean, there's a tear in my beer tonight because he, as you know, provided so much material as a rival fan base. I mean, he was an endless source of material.
He was.
Dating back to his infamous coaching photograph in Hawaii when he was standing there with all the other coaches of the other 17?
Yeah, Bill Self and Danny Manning and Crean
and
in
they're
the
all,
middle of this.
They're all wearing, similar performance wear golf shorts and performance wear, golf shirts. And there's Crean with his knit
polo
whatever
with like basketball shorts,
but like those old sweatpants shorts pulled up above his belly. He looked completely goofy, and that's what I'm going to miss is that goofiness.
He made it pretty easy,
but he's also been a coach that's caused me some pain over the years. He led Marquette to the Final Four that beat Kentucky in the Elite Eight back when Dwayne Wade was there and Keith Bogans had a bum ankle. That hurt, obviously, and then you guys beat us in 11. But that 11 victory he got on us helped build our championship team. So I'm in a debt of gratitude for Crean winning that game.
Crean is 4-4 against Kentucky in his career.
And that's what Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, not a huge sample size, but that's not bad.
Was he 1-1 against Gillespie? I think he lost at Rupp against Gillespie, but then you guys killed us in Bloomington against Gillespie, if I remember correctly. And then John Wall came in and beat you guys. The next year we beat you in Rupp. The next year you beat us in Bloomington.
Mm-hmm.
And then we beat you guys in the tournament. Then you guys beat us in the tournament last year. So
yeah, I think he was 2-4 at Indiana against Kentucky and 2-0 at Marquette. So
interesting stuff. Well, again, folks, tell you what. Again, special edition of Red Blue Hoops here on WNIN. The hotline is open. Berger's back there doodling. He's bored. So give us a call at 812-426-7400 or tweet us.
At Red Blue Hoops.
Yeah, and actually our intern, Walker Beck, is not here tonight. He's got golf practice for the Castle Knights, so I'm running the Twitter account. Hope I do it correctly. But real quick shout-out, Castle Knights teammate of Walker, Austin Bratton, signed his national letter of intent with the Jacksonville University Dolphins golf team today.
And you're sporting the shirt.
I'm sporting the JU Dolphins.
That's some support right
I've
there.
never worn a Jacksonville University golf shirt before.
And that's a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah. It's green. I've got khaki pants, and someone thought I was working for Action Pest Control earlier today. Okay, on our agenda now, we're going to kind of do a really quick final review of the season for Kentucky and Indiana. Since Kentucky had a very short end of the season, we'll let you start, Chad.
Oh, nice. Good segue there. Yeah, so Indiana, of course, finished the Big Ten tournament. They pounded Iowa, and that's a game we hung out at
That's right. That was our final show.
That's right. That was the final show, or the last one. And I was feeling pretty good about what could happen. And then we played Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is Indiana's kryptonite, or Tom Crean's kryptonite. A stat on that, Tom Crean at Indiana against Wisconsin. What do you think his record was, Evan?
I'm going to say he only won 2 games against Wisconsin.
You're right.
Really?
2-16 against Wisconsin.
That's an acid test data point for our listeners out there of Tom Crean's failure as a coach at IU.
It is. That's a big one. So, and then it became apparent after that Indiana would not make the big dance, and then it got real bizarre for Indiana. I was watching, and I typically don't watch NIT bracketology. I didn't think there was an NIT bracketology.
You have to watch it.
Yeah, I had to watch it, and they come up as a 3 seed. Playing Georgia Tech. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then right away, ESPN announces that Indiana will not host the home game. And at that time, they said due to Bloomington or Assembly Hall renovations. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? Something about that is not right. So then it became that Fred Glass didn't want to downplay a game where the students wouldn't be there.
Oh, was it spring break?
It was spring break, but it was spring break for every college in the NIT, I think.
That's true, yeah.
So it just got uglier and uglier, and unfortunately they did go on the road and played Georgia Tech, and it was a microcosm of the season, sloppy basketball. I was actually in Vegas with some friends. We watched that game. We, of course, bet on Indiana. We always do. So we didn't win that bet.
You should have called me before you made that decision.
I know. I should just went the other way.
Chad, I'm your friend. I can help you in situations like that.
Yeah. You know what's interesting after the fact, I kind of thought that Fred Glass basically set Crean up for failure is what was my personal opinion on that. He didn't want a run by Indiana, and he knew if we went on the road that we would get beat.
Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Fred Glass a strong advocate for Tom Crean?
He was. They were pretty tight. I think it got really weird there at the end. I think the fan base was just not happy, and the higher-ups.
Oh, that was clearly apparent. You guys, your upper deck was vacant the last several home games.
Yeah,
which speaks volumes as an athletic director.
It does.
But so who do you think actually made the actual decision to fire Tom Crean? Do you think it was actually Fred?
No.
You don't think it was Fred? It was above Fred?
It was above Fred.
So I think trustee level?
Trustee level would be where I'm thinking they made some calls and said he needs to be out. As a matter of fact, he met with, or he talked to, Tom Crean talked to Fred Glass on Wednesday night and said everything was good. He's planning on coming back, and Thursday morning it comes across Bleacher Report that OTC is gone. So something really happened there. And what's interesting is Fred Glass called Tom Crean and said, "I need to." This is what I've read, and Crean has, I think, openly said this. I need to meet with you to discuss next year. And Crean knew what he was going to say and did not go meet with Fred Glass.
Is that right?
They have never met.
I did not know that.
He got fired over the phone, and it really was never said, is what I read into it. But Crean knew
there was never a meeting.
There was never a meeting.
Wow.
So
that's unusual. Even Gillespie got fired face to face.
Yeah, it was
I did not know that. That's fascinating.
It was a weird ending, and then it was kind of cool, but it was kind of bizarre. So all this went down on Thursday, and I think the following Sunday, Indiana women have an NIT basketball game at Assembly Hall, and Tom Crean was there. Stood in the corner. Because he's really good friends with Terry Morin, the coach of Indiana women.
So he was there supporting.
But they showed a picture of it. It was just
uncomfortable,
cryptic, strange.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
But good for him.
Yeah.
He's looking out for friends.
That's classy.
It is.
I did not know that about him getting fired off-site. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Weird.
Well, we have our first caller of the special edition of Red Blue Hoops, and it's none other than Mama Kim.
Oh, Mama Kim. All right.
Welcome to the Red Blue Hoops, Kim. Go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Well, actually, Kim, I'm glad you called because I'm still waiting for my dinner invitation.
We're going to discuss
Chad has my phone number. Chad has my Twitter account. So
when Indiana wins 10 in a row next year.
Whoa.
That's a bold prediction.
I've got to wait until they win 10 in a row. I may lose 50 pounds by then waiting on this special dinner.
Hey, no. We're going to do well next year.
I hope so.
Ask Chad what kind of report he's compiled on that new coach, what his record is, and just what his record is there, and how much he really knows about him.
Yeah, a little bit of that's a good question. So, a little bit of history on Mr. Archie Miller from Dayton. He was 139 and 63. That is a 68% winning percentage.
You guys love guys in the 60s, don't you?
Yeah, I love guys in the 60s.
Keeping it consistent.
His first couple years at Dayton, they did not make the tournament, and then they've made 4 straight tournaments. So
one year they made a run.
They did. They made the Elite Eight. So
Players are going to come back.
Hello?
I think she's asking questions under the being quiet or
Kim,
something.
do we need to take a pause for some special communication here over the radio?
No, my husband was asking me to ask something. How many players you think will come back?
Well, I've got a comment there.
How many? Yeah, go ahead. You start that.
This is my opportunity to bring in a little bit of a dig because Tom Crean had this habit. Every year he would clean out his program. We called it spring creening.
Spring creening, that's right.
If you Google it, it comes up. It's the
Urban Dictionary slang term.
Because he always got rid of players. So right now you guys have two more players than you have scholarships available. So what's going to happen, Chad?
What's going to happen is this. Clifton Moore. So OG Anunoby is gone. Clifton Moore is a recruit that is not going to go to Indiana. So that's 2.
So and that means you won.
So that leaves
one over.
There's going to be one between Blackman, Bryant, and Robert Johnson that will be gone. And my bold prediction is Thomas Bryant and Robert Johnson come back. Blackman's gone. So then that'll be enough.
Okay.
We'll be covered.
But I like the fact that you guys are hiring a coach that wins 60-something% of his games, and he's continuing
68.
The legacy of spring creening. So we're continuing this legacy.
Yeah.
No, I tell you what. Kim, let me tell you something right now. I think you guys made a good hire with Archie Miller. I really do. So congratulations.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, well, you have a happy Easter.
All right.
Happy Easter, Kim. Thank you.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. That's right.
Don't forget, Chad has my phone number for dinner.
Okay.
Steak dinner. All right. See you later. Love you. See ya.
Now, that's a good segue about, since you went ahead and started talking about Archie Miller. When we were in Indianapolis for the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Great story here.
And let's see, Kentucky played Friday night against Northern Kentucky. So this was Saturday evening. Allison and Walker and I were up there. We had just gotten back from, where did Castle and Bosse play in the semi-state? What was the name of that town over there?
Seymour?
Yeah, Seymour.
Is that where it was?
Yeah, I think that's right. We went down there and watched those semi-state games.
Okay.
Heartbreaker for Castle. But anyway,
heard that.
We got back into Indy. We were just kind of messing around and happened to run into one of the largest boosters of Kentucky athletics, Mr. Nutter. The football training field house is called the Nutter Field House. Mr. Nutter and his wife.
Does he make the Nutter Butters? That was
he does not make the Nutter Butters, but that's a good guess.
Okay. That was, could be an empire.
They live in Ohio, okay? So there's a connection here with your hire here. So, and at the table is someone that is a frequent caller on this show that works for the University of Kentucky Radio Network, Mike Pratt, former All-American at UK.
Awesome guy.
Great guy. Mike and his wife were there. So we get into a conversation, real friendly conversation. And as a refresher for our listeners that may not have heard, but Mike Pratt was on the committee that worked with athletic director Mitch Barnhart to hire Coach Calipari. So Mike was asking me about the Indiana job because Crean had already been fired. It was open. We got to talking, and he said, well, Evan, I'll tell you right now, if Calipari were to leave Kentucky tomorrow, my first phone call would be Archie Miller.
Wow.
So that's a ringing endorsement for your fan base that the guy that helped bring Calipari to UK thinks that much of Archie Miller. And then Mrs. Nutter, she's a basketball fanatic. She knew every assistant coach's name for Archie, knew every assistant coach's name for Steve Alford.
Yeah.
And I finally to her, I said, how do you know all that stuff? She says, Evan, I live and breathe college basketball.
That's cool.
And she goes, I love Archie Miller. Love him. They know him. They've gotten to know him over there somehow. So anyway, that's kind of cool.
That is real cool. So I expect to see with the Archie and Calipari connection, I think the IU UK game is inevitable now.
I hope so. You know, that connection goes way back. Archie's father and Cal have a connection that goes back many, many years. And from what I understand, Calipari has known Archie since Archie was a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already been some discussion on Archie's part about rekindling the rivalry between IU and Kentucky, hopefully, on a regular basis during the regular season.
That's right. So Indiana has always taken a shot for a week pre-non-conference schedule, right?
Well, let's just touch on that. You guys finished last year in KenPom. Your non-conference strength of schedule was 310th in the nation. So I think Archie's going to bring that up, don't you think?
Yeah, I would hope so. It's still weird, though, because IU played some pretty good teams. Kansas, North Carolina, Louisville, Butler. And that's 4 pretty good teams. I don't know what brings that.
Well, you're correct. You played a few really good ones, but you played a lot of really bad ones.
So I guess you substitute those 3 or 4 really bad ones with mid-majors of like a Dayton, or maybe you play like Dayton or something.
If you just get someone that's ranked 150 to 100,
probably makes a huge difference.
Massive difference. You guys are playing a lot of 300-plus teams.
Houston Baptist.
That's like a church league team.
We beat them, yeah, we did.
So, but with Archie, and also to further the connection to Calipari, it kind of goes back to that phone call we got from, I think, Gary, an Indiana fan, that said you guys should clone Calipari and hire the clone.
He did say that. Is this maybe
maybe so close? Now Archie Miller's filled out his assistant coaching staff with 2 former Calipari assistants.
Mm-hmm.
Bruiser Flint, that played for Calipari and worked for Calipari.
He played for him at UMass, I would say.
He did, and then Ed Schilling worked for Calipari at Memphis. So the Calipari coaching tree is in Bloomington, pretty thick.
Yeah, and no doubt about it.
How does that make your Indiana fans feel?
This Indiana fan feels great.
Well,
the one that came out of nowhere is the Ed Schilling hire. That is a huge hire from a recruiting standpoint.
It is.
I mean, huge.
And that's what you guys need, recruiting help. Badly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about one of my bold predictions a little bit later involving recruiting. So,
well, it's exciting times.
It is.
Again, folks, this is a special edition of Red Blue Hoops. Phone lines are open, 812-426-7400, or tweet
at Red Blue Hoops.
We're going to our first break. Here's some tunes by Chad and the Spring Cleaners.
Ooh.
Support for this special edition of Red Blue Hoops comes from the law firm of Jackson Kelly, PLLC, Timothy Weir, IU School of Medicine of Evansville, and Evansville Teachers Federal Credit Union.
folks, welcome back to the special edition of Red Blue Hoops here on your WNIN 88.3. We are also live streaming on WNIN.org. Give us a call, 812-426-7400, or tweet
At Red Blue Hoops. Let's hear them.
So, folks, we're doing a little work on the final review of the seasons last year, and we just wrapped up Indiana's review of the Big Ten tournament and the NIT loss at Georgia Tech. Kentucky went down to Nashville for the SEC tournament. Once again, about 40,000 UK fans showed up. There's only 18,000 seats, so Broadway gets shut down. It turns into like a big blue festival down there. A lot of fun. Kentucky ran the table. They beat Georgia. Then they beat I'm getting
Florida?
old. No. We beat Arkansas in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
We played really well down there. And it started looking like, down there I started thinking to myself, this team – I think has it in them to make a run. Got the pieces were starting to come together. The seniors of Mulder, Hawkins, and Willis were really stepping up. As an example, Dominique Hawkins made the all-tournament team down there.
I think I texted you. He was hitting shots. I mean, that was
steals.
The floaters. I mean, ridiculous.
Awesome. Played great. So the SEC tournament was a huge success, a lot of fun, seeing a lot of family and friends down there in Nash Vegas. Again, when you have 40,000 of your friends, it's hard not to have fun.
Yeah.
And all that music and good food down there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A lot of good times. So then we roll into the NCAA tournament, and I know this is going to sound like I'm pouting, as Chad would say. But the brackets came out that Sunday night, and Kentucky fans were excited this year because the athletic director, Mitch Barnhart, was on the committee this year, and we thought maybe we wouldn't get such a bad bracket as we've gotten in the recent years. As an example, last year, Kentucky got a 4 seed. They should have been a 3 seed. Played Indiana as a 5. Indiana should have been a 4 seed.
Absolutely.
That was a round of 32 game. Should have been a Sweet 16 game. Anyway, so they actually are more transparent now. They show the full rankings of every team in the tournament. Kentucky was ranked 5th in the tournament, so they're the top 2 seed in the tournament. They put us in a bracket that has Wichita State, UCLA, and North Carolina. So for the first time in NCAA tournament history, Kentucky played 3 teams that had won 30 or more games before making the Final Four.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. I mean, the Wichita State game was really entertaining for reasons off the court. I don't know if our listeners paid attention, but, Greg Marshall was being talked amongst IU fans as one of the top candidates, right?
He was, sure was.
Obviously, he's done a great job at Wichita State. He has a little bit of an interesting reputation, not the most glowing reputation, but he can coach basketball.
Right.
Tough teams. But his wife was heavily intoxicated during that game.
Yeah.
I'm talking heavily, out of control, intoxicated. They had a handler that was trying to help her that couldn't keep her in control.
Handler.
They had a security guard assigned to her that couldn't keep her in control. They got special people down there, and it was out of control. So once I got a text from someone that was down there, I could not stop watching her every time there was a dead ball. And she was up on her chair, raising her shirt, not all the way up, but showing her belly, and just leaning over the rail.
It's not a good look.
Really, really bad language. Ends up, the story blew up nationally. I mean, it went viral that night. And so that was interesting. But anyway, we survived the Wichita State game. It was a heck of a college game. Came down to the wire.
Were you impressed with Wichita State?
They're tough as nails, man.
They are.
Tough as
a lot
nails.
of athletes. They recruit pretty good players.
Well, look at them. They jumped to where? Where
AAC, the Atlantic
Athletic Conference?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's
a step up for them.
That's a massive loss for the Missouri Valley Conference.
It is.
We'll take a quick break from the Kentucky review. We're going back to the phone lines. We've got Kim back on the line. Kim?
Same one?
Well, you know who they should have called to help out in that situation? The people at United Airlines.
That's a good point.
That may go down as one of the funniest calls we've ever gotten on the show. That's good, Kim. Anything else?
All right. No, that's all.
All right.
Just would have had to add that in.
That's
I
good.
saw a tweet today. It said, "Dear United Airlines, my ex is on flight 173. It's sitting in seat 12 if you want to talk to him," or something like that. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I'm
funny.
just tracking some funnies.
Thanks.
Real quick before we go back to the phone lines. So we beat Wichita State, make it to the Sweet 16. We face a really strong UCLA team. They were talking a lot of trash, especially that ball kid's father was talking all sorts of smack, and Kentucky played extremely well that night, rolled them. De'Aaron Fox completely dominated that ball kid.
He's still scoring baskets as we speak.
Fox scored 39 against supposedly the top point guard of the nation, and Ball was non-existent.
He did
scored
not.
8 points. So Kentucky was rolling. Rolling. Then we meet North Carolina in the Elite Eight, and we're playing in Memphis, ironically. Calipari had a little bit of a homecoming down there.
I saw
really
that.
Cool. They had a really big function for him at the Peabody Hotel. Like 250 people came out. It's pretty neat. But anyway, Carolina game, it was a very hard-fought game, very well-matched teams. It should have been a Final Four game, in my opinion, without a doubt. Again, you have one of the top 1 seeds playing the top 2 seed in the Elite Eight. Doesn't mathematically make sense, but anyway, it will go down in history. I don't care who you are, as the John Higgins game. John Higgins ended up, unfortunately, making several calls that have been questionable at best. There's a 3.5-minute video that reviews them. I just hate to see. I would rather Kentucky had lost by 10 versus by 2. That way, it would not have been a factor.
So much heat on him.
Exactly, but it got really ugly. A lot of UK fans got extremely upset. Reached out to him, started doing things to his business review, death threats. It just got out of control. But when you watch that video of all the calls he made, my goodness, they were horrible. And it's a theme that we talked about the entire season.
All year.
And we're going to touch on later, because the refereeing quality in the Final Four was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It was.
Carolina, in my opinion, they were helped for sure in 3 games, potentially 4, but helped big time in the final game against Gonzaga, Elite Eight game, Kentucky, some a little bit against Oregon. But then the Arkansas game, they were helped out tremendously. But let's go to the lines real quick. I think we have Wayne on the line. Wayne, go ahead.
They've been helped for 20 years.
Yeah.
Hey, Evan, how you doing?
Doing great, Wayne. Welcome to this special edition of Red Blue Hoops tonight. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, man. Hey, glad to be on there. Hey, I will say is on the Fox deal with playing against UCLA, I will honestly say that I really, probably one time I rooted for one kid for Kentucky just to play against Ball. Not that I don't dislike, Lonzo Ball. It's just that his dad was such a mouth.
No doubt about it.
It's just such a pleasure to see him just be shut up. It's incredible.
Well, then how about his follow-up, though? Then after that, he comes out and says that the reason UCLA didn't win a title is because they had 3 white guys playing.
Wouldn't it be 3.5 white guys?
And he is half white.
That's what I'm saying. That was so bizarre.
Exactly.
So how does that work?
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was, if a white guy would have said that would have really just been blown up nationally. It just seemed like that just kind of got shut up.
Yeah.
But, hey, I talk to Chad all the time about, about Coach Miller. I didn't get to hear the first segment of the show. I'm out eating no Mexican and friends. And
you're a loyal caller, dude.
And then having the margaritas, so I want you guys to just enjoy your time there. But I wanted to call in. So, Evan, what's your thoughts on Archie? What do you think about this? I think it's a good. For me, I think it's a good thing for Indiana. But I want to see what your thoughts.
Sure, great question, and I did touch on that a little bit earlier, but I'll review real quickly in the fact that I have learned a couple things. I made mistakes. I got overexcited by the hiring of Tubby Smith and the hiring of Billy Gillespie. So I'm going to say it's a good hire. I will never say someone made a great hire again until they have some time.
Have some success, right? Yeah.
But I was telling Chad and the listeners earlier, Wayne, that Mike Pratt, who served on the committee that hired John Calipari, I ran into him in Indianapolis during the tournament, and he said that Archie Miller would have been his first call if Calipari had left Kentucky. So he was at the top of our short list at Kentucky. And I think that based on his pedigree, his work ethic, his connections within the basketball fraternity, and now he's put together what appears to be a very strong assistant coaching staff.
6 staff.
He hired a good, from what I hear, strength and conditioning coach. I think you have set the stage for some better success for Indiana basketball.
No doubt.
Well, I think the hiring of Ed Schilling from UCLA was really going to probably help us in state recruiting.
Yes.
We've just lost that battle for years. So,
huge.
So I think that's a huge hire for us. But hopefully next year we'll get a situation where we can, get a situation where with having. I'm sorry. All these girls got really kind of freaked out. Our spider just dropped on the table. We're sitting outside.
Oh, so, my goodness.
Man.
So I had to go, okay, let's get calm down here. But anyway.
Restore some order, dude.
Yeah, we've got it all taken care of. But anyway, just thinking, to next year, we got to get some blood, here with maybe getting, I told Chad, hopefully getting, Archie Miller on the line here next year with you guys. I know he's trying to do that, and I'm tweeting as well. So.
Oh, we're talking about it.
Hey,
we'll do that. That'll happen.
Hey, Wayne, tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN2, it's the 30 for 30 titled One and Not Done about Coach Calipari. You should tune in. I hear it's a really good show.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that. I plan on doing it. I'm trying to tape that in case I don't get back in time. But,
sure.
Well, hey, guys, appreciate it. Great show. I'm looking forward to next year and hopefully getting some more guests on your show. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Hey, Wayne, I got one quick question for you. You got time for one quick question?
Oh,
all right.
Absolutely, man.
So we're going to talk about in a second here some bold predictions for each of our teams next year. I want to hear one bold prediction from you about Indiana next season.
Well, I think obviously with Miles Bridges coming back from Michigan State, I think they're probably going to be definitely one of the top teams. But I think if Bryant and at least Rob Johnson come back with everybody else that we have, I think we have a shot at winning the Big Ten or at least the Big Ten tournament. And I think running and making a deep run into the national tournament. I'm talking about, I'm not talking just, Sweet 16. I think we can be an Elite 8 or Final 4 team.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
So I think we have that capability, having a coach that knows X's and O's and knows defense. I think that's just going to be critical for us that we haven't had. So
I like it.
I think that's where we're at. And, man, I tell you what, one last question to Evan. Do you think Bam is really going to go pro? I mean, it seems like he's a legitimate, lottery pick. But
how about that? I mean, he continued to improve as the season was maturing, and he has all the intangibles and tangibles. He has everything. He's off the court. He's a great kid, high character, smiles, will never be a problem in the locker room. He's a physical specimen.
Yeah, he's a
but
beast.
This week, Wayne, the 2 draft boards dropped him off the top out of the first round.
There's a lot of people going pro.
So a lot of people going pro this year, like the kid from Gonzaga, one and done. The Collins kid, 7-footers, went pro. So Bam did not sign with an agent. So I guess there's a chance he may come back. I mean, we lost. If he were to go, we will have lost 8 players off last year's roster. Whew.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's very possible that Evan Beck could be starting at the 3 next year in Lexington.
But I got to get in better shape.
I was telling Chad that with the situation with so many players from IU trying to go pro, I was telling him, I said, I think it's time that I just go ahead and just make my announcement. I'm deciding to declare myself for the NBA draft. I mean,
well, you just did it.
There's so many players going to draft. There's only 60 spots.
Yeah.
So, how is it possible that, everybody's going to, make it pro? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, Kentucky had there's a first this year. Isaac Humphries, the sophomore. He's a young sophomore. He's only just turned 19. And he's turning pro and not planning to go to the NBA as a sophomore in college. Has that ever happened?
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's going to be
guys,
interesting.
I appreciate it. I better start eating some food here and conversation here. But, hey, good talking to you. And great show again. And look forward to hearing you guys next year.
Hey, thanks for being a loyal caller. Appreciate that, Wayne.
Hey, no problem. Hey, take care.
Have a great summer, Wayne.
See you, man.
Good night. All right, folks, phone lines are open. We're going to go to our last break of our special show tonight. Give us a call at 812-426-7400 or tweet
at Red Blue Hoops.
Go Big Blue.
Go Hoosiers.
Support for this special edition of Red Blue Hoops comes from the law firm of Jackson Kelly, PLLC, Timothy Weir, IU School of Medicine of Evansville, and Evansville Teachers Federal Credit Union.
All right, basketball fans and WNIN listeners, welcome back to tonight's special edition of Red Blue Hoops. It's 85 degrees up here on the third floor of the studio tonight, and we are announcing will be the final Red Blue Hoops show in the studio.
That's right.
For our listeners that do not know, that live under a rock or something, WNIN is moving to a beautiful new studio on Main Street next year, overlooking the riverfront, the former WEVV 44 building. And it will be a new digital studio, digital production room, like an HD studio. They'll have a 50-seat like production theater that you can do some live shows. And Chad
might
and
be
I
on TV next year.
Chad and I are really looking forward to the new digital host. That means we just got fired.
I think. How do you get fired from a volunteer job? How's that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't heard from our agents yet.
That's right.
But,
calling you, Burger.
For our listeners, though, yeah, we're looking forward to the new studio next year. I was, what would you call it? I was putting in good word for having a custom Red Blue Hoop studio, but they said no.
Not yet. It might happen eventually.
I'm not going to give up.
No. This thing's growing.
So anyway, again, our phone lines are open, 812-426-7400. I think with this great weather, people may be outside messing around, doing stuff.
Yeah.
But we were touching on the end of the season for Kentucky last year, that epic shot by North Carolina, that kid May, that beat Kentucky to launch Carolina to the Final Four and to a national championship. And this is a team that's been documented for having an academic scandal going on for 20-plus years. And for teams like Indiana and Kentucky who have been penalized in the past for much, much lesser transgressions, we sit back and wonder how is a program like Carolina, with so much of a documented fraud case, allowed to continue to play and compete for national championships. It just makes you scratch your head. I mean, you guys got in trouble for sending text messages,
which is now legal. From what, yeah.
And then the infamous Kentucky deal back in the 80s. Okay, have you ever gotten a FedEx package ever, like an envelope with a document in it that had any appearance that it was going to come open ever?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You got to actually have like a hacksaw to get those things open. Well, that old story was that an Emory package, which is like an old FedEx company.
Yeah.
That in the mailroom, the envelope came open on its own, and 10 $100 bills come out.
Was that to Sean Kemp?
That was to supposedly Chris Mills.
Chris Mills, yeah.
So it's just – so how does that happen? And then you got Carolina with a documented academic fraud case for 20-plus years. Systemic academic fraud case.
Oh, egregious. So you'll appreciate this. I thought it was funny. So Luke May, he hit that shot on late Sunday night. He got so much credibility on Monday morning for attending class. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
They put it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Luke May went to class Monday morning.
Got a standing ovation.
What should he have done?
Right.
Unbelievable.
That's right. I think we're going back to the phone lines. Burger's back there on the grease board. We have Tiffany. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Hi. We have a question for the new basketball coach coming in.
Okay.
Will Indiana be good at basketball?
Is that Zane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Zane, that's a good question. That's very open-ended. I'm just going to say yes, they're going to be very good at basketball next year.
Who is?
Indiana.
Kentucky?
No, Indiana.
Is Zane a Kentucky fan?
No. But they kind of like North Carolina though.
No, that's bad. That's really bad. That's a problem. That's in your family?
Yeah, well, kind of married into it a little bit too.
Okay.
So
well, that's got a disclaimer attached to it then.
Yeah.
What else do you have for us tonight, Tiffany?
What'd you say?
What else do you have for it? Are you a good cook like Kim?
Oh, no.
Well, I'm trying to get this dinner I've been promised for 2 seasons. Can't seem to get it.
Together, just somewhere, not cook. Not cook.
Hey, Tiff was a good basketball player, though. I
Where'd
didn't
you
watch
play?
her
Tiffany,
play.
where'd you play?
I did play in college, yes.
Where?
I played at Mid-Continent University.
Absolutely. What position did you play?
I played at 2 guards.
Were you right or left-handed?
Right-handed.
What was your three-point shooting percentage for your career?
Oh, man, Chad would probably know that one.
It was like 39%.
Oh, you were an effective three-point shooter. Were you good at ball handling?
Not so much that. I could shoot, though, but I was about 89% in this
free throws.
Free throws.
That's great. How was your defense?
Oh, God, we won't talk about that.
No, that's not a great Peyton trait.
I've heard Chad was not very good at defense either back in the high school days.
I thought it was optional.
Well, it is.
Yeah, we did. Thought it was optional.
James Blackman.
That's right.
That's right. Well, Tiffany, thank you for calling in to Rebel Hoops tonight. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Zane, good job, buddy. I'll see you guys soon.
All right, bye.
See ya.
Okay, folks. Seasons are over. Indiana has a new coach. He's figuring out his roster. He's continuing the legacy of spring cleaning. So you guys have a full complement of a roster. What about in Lexington? What do we have?
You guys have any players down there?
No. We have lost, as of today, we have lost, if Bam stays in the draft, we will have lost 8 players from last year's roster. That's the 3 seniors, Michael Mulder, Derek Willis, Dominique Hawkins. 2 sophomores who have signed with agents, Isaac Humphreys, Isaiah Briscoe. 2 freshmen have signed with agents, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and then Bam would be the 8th. So our roster has been decimated.
Yeah.
We're used to it, but this is definitely a much higher number than normal. Again, 3 seniors, 2 sophomores, 3 freshmen. So
you guys had a senior night that was legit.
It was a great senior night.
Derek Willis got engaged,
awesome.
didn't he?
He did. He got engaged that night.
He had a cheat copy apartment.
But I guess he did.
Yeah.
But it's a little nerve-wracking. This year's recruiting class as a whole, this year's class, the 2017 class, as known as kind of a weaker class as compared to years past. So we're a little concerned about that. We're not as star-loaded right now with our recruiting class. We do have, as of tonight, 7 either signed or committed players. And we are ranked the number 1 recruiting class in the nation.
Right.
We just added a new shooting guard. He's a 4-star from the L.A. area in California, Jamal Baker. His name is spelled Jemarl, but you pronounce it Jamal. I haven't figured out that. But 6'4" shooting guard.
Yeah.
We needed it. We needed some shooters.
Absolutely, yeah.
So then you have P.J. Washington from Henderson, Nevada, Nick Richards, Elizabeth, New Jersey, a center. We have Shai Alexander, a 6'6" guard from Chattanooga, Tennessee. We have Quade Green, point guard from Philadelphia, who's actually highly regarded. He's been playing the McDonald's All-American game, the Nike Hoop Summit. He participated, got a concussion, didn't get to play in the game, and he's at the Jordan Brand Classic this weekend. And then our last recruit on our list right now is Jared Vanderbilt, who absolutely lit it up at the Nike Hoop Summit. He was the MVP, and his stock went from like 20 rank to top 10 rank, which is good. But then the one kid that's really special that may help bridge the gap a little bit for us is that Hamidou Diallo. He was a mid-semester. He joined our team after Christmas last year. So he's been on campus for the full semester. He understands the Calipari system. I actually watched his three-point shooting improve as the season went along. I watched him every time in warm-ups. And Chad, from the time he got there, from the time at the end of the season, hopefully it translates over to game action. But, man, his three-point shot improved dramatically.
He can play.
This kid is a freak. He's got almost a 6'11" wingspan as a 6'6" point guard. So we are truly reloading. A lot of questions marks.
Sasha Kalea-Jones.
We still have Sasha Kalea-Jones. We have Winnie Gabriel and Ty Wynyard, the big boy from New Zealand. Yeah. Well, we have Brad Calipari.
He might start point guard.
Oh, my gosh. Real quick, we're going back to the phone lines. Understand we have John on the phone. John, welcome to Red Blue Hoops. Go ahead.
Oh, hello, fellas.
Hello. What's going on?
Good. I had a couple of quick questions for you. Are you fellas going to watch the 30 for 30 feature on John Calipari?
Absolutely. Tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN2.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Check that out, too.
I wonder if they'll paint him as kind of a bandit or a guy that's really developed young men, because people look at him as at both ways.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
No, it's a great question, John. Several friends of mine got to attend a private viewing this past Monday night in Lexington, and they categorize it as 60% from a Calipari side, 40% from the Calipari hater side, so it's very well done from all angles. So I think it's going to give you a 2-hour view to who John Calipari has been, both good and bad.
Well, thanks. I didn't know that you had friends that had seen that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Fellas, I go way back. You may not know this, but St. Louis used to have an NBA team. They were called the Hawks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Connie Hawkins played there, right?
Well, I'm not sure about Connie Hawkins, but here's some of the names I remember. Lenny Wilkins, Richie Guerin, Delmo Beatty, Bill Bridges, Bob Pettit. And one that I remember, I was only about 9 years old, was Cliff Hagan. And you know what I remember about him, guys? He had a terrific hook shot.
Yes, he did. And he was a good-looking dude. He was a stud. Hey, I'm serious. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that guy was a stud. All-campus big boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I had one more question for you guys. Have you talked to anybody who was at the Final Four? And the reason I ask is that the CBS crew said there were 70,000 people at the University of Phoenix Stadium, and I'm wondering, of those 70,000 seats, what kind of view did they have, or did they treat it like the Jerry Dome and watch it on the video screen? But what do you think about a crowd of 70,000?
Well, that's a great question, and it's something I've been talking about recently after going to 4 Final Fours, like in Houston and Dallas, New Orleans, and I don't know where my fourth one was, but Houston was terrible. I will never go back there to watch a college basketball game. It was horrendous from a viewing standpoint, and the shooting was awful. From what I'm told from people who attended, Phoenix was somewhat like Houston, real flat seating, extremely far away, and you just couldn't really see the game. Dallas was okay. They had that giant screen you could watch it on, but I think the games have gotten too big from the standpoint of the venues they're holding them in. But it's all about the mighty dollar for the NCAA.
Absolutely.
They all claim about being student-athlete driven, but they're financially driven, no question about it.
Boy, do I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. I'd love to see the Final Four return to a 20,000 seat.
Yeah. Or even down to 40 would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference just going down
Cut
to 40.
off half that size of those buildings.
Yeah. Anything else for us tonight, John?
Well, fellas, that's it, and thank you so much. I enjoy the show and look forward. Hopefully you can have a football version of this. I really think it's neat.
Ooh.
I love Kentucky football, too.
I could play the game. I love it, too. Yeah.
Well, John, we really appreciate your listening, your support, and calling in. Tune in next season. We'll be back on in our new studio.
I sure will. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. At Red Blue Pigskin.
Oh, yeah. At Red Blue Pigskin. That's a new Twitter handle.
Wow.
Folks, we're running out of time. We're down to like the 4-minute mark before the show ends. We have so much to cover. We touched on go ahead.
No, you're recruiting.
Recruiting.
Finish that off real quick on what you guys think is going to happen on your
end. So, again,
end.
we have 7 commitments. Real quick, Jared Vanderbilt, forward. Quade Green, point guard. Shai Alexander, guard. Nick Richards, center. P.J. Washington, forward. Jamal Baker, shooting guard. Hamidou Diallo, guard. We are still chasing Kevin Knox.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
Which I don't think will come to Kentucky.
He's going to Missouri, maybe, isn't he?
Potentially.
Missouri.
How about that story?
Yeah.
We are really chasing hard Mohamed Bamba.
Mo Bamba.
Power forward from Westtown, Pennsylvania. He's also has been in the McDonald's All-American game, the Nike Hoop Summit, and this weekend the Jordan Brand Classic. He's currently rooming with Kentucky commitment Quade Green. They're very close, and also he's very close with Hamidou Diallo. So I think we have some favorites in our corner of getting Bamba.
Absolutely.
But then we're also chasing this transfer kid from Pitt, Cam Johnson, 6'8" shooting guard. We've got room for him. Let's bring him. We need help. I don't want to be in the NIT again like we did back in 2013. But it's been this show has gone so quickly, so much to talk about. We did touch on a little bit about the assistant coaching staff that Archie Miller has put together, and how much of a connection there is with the Calipari coaching tree, which I find is fascinating. And I've been really curious about how the Indiana fan base would react to that, because so much of your fan base absolutely hates Calipari. I mean, with a passion, hates Calipari. They consider him the devil of basketball.
Yeah.
But, Bruiser Flint and Coach Cal are extremely close. I mean, I've been in the same room with Cal and Bruiser Flint. I mean, they are father-son type close.
Absolutely.
So, and then with the Archie Miller connection to Calipari and all that. So I think there's a great opportunity for Indiana and Kentucky to play a regular season game somewhere. I think Archie –
Ford Center.
I think Archie has the guts to play a neutral site where Crean refused to play in a neutral site. I don't know – can Archie talk Calipari come back to Bloomington? Maybe.
That's true.
I'll
tell you, Archie, he don't care. He'll go to Rupp. I mean, Archie will play anybody. The way his attitude looks like he's
I know. He's all game.
He's all game.
That's the way Cal was when he was a young coach. He always said, we'll play anybody, anywhere.
That's
when he
right.
was at UMass and Memphis. But now it's harder than people realize, though, scheduling. The conferences have grown. You have more regular season conference games. As an example, when the SEC grew, Kentucky lost 2 non-conference games.
Right.
And there's only so much room you have because you can't play more than 40 games in a season. So a little bit of a limiting factor there. But hopefully that the Coach Calipari and Coach Miller can get together and get that rivalry back. But real quick, Final Four, the refereeing. What were your thoughts about the Final Four?
Well, it's just I felt like it was not good, obviously, and it was bad all year. And I think I told you that the interesting thing about these plays or these calls is normally referees are not in position is what people get mad about. These guys are looking right
spot
at
on.
these things.
They're in the grade A position for all these calls they're missing.
Which what do you make of that? I don't
I mean,
quite understand.
Carolina late in the game, Kennedy Meeks is shooting a free throw, and one of the 3 referees, his sole purpose is to watch the free throw shooter not break the free throw line. And there's a picture of Kennedy Meeks' foot on the free throw line while shooting.
Absolutely.
And they don't call it.
His hands out of bounds.
His hands out of bounds on the really critical jump ball, and then the save of the first half. The guy's 7 feet out of bounds, foot on the floor, saves it, and they don't call it. The guy's watching it.
He is. He's looking right at it.
So hopefully in the future, I mean, the refereeing component has become too big of a story in the basketball landscape. So, well, Chad, this has been a great wrap up to the season. Congratulations on your hire.
Absolutely. It's going to be been a great show. Thank you guys for allowing me to come in here and do that. And next year's show is going to be even bigger. We're getting Coach Miller on the show next
Red
year.
Blue Hoops next year, new studio. Go Big Blue.
Go Hoosiers.
Support for this special edition of Red Blue Hoops comes from the law firm of Jackson Kelly, PLLC, Timothy Weir, IU School of Medicine of Evansville, and Evansville Teachers Federal Credit Union. Red Blue Hoops is a production of WNIN Tristate Public Media. The executive producer is Brad Kimmel. Steve Berger is the producer. The technical director is Samantha Horton. The opinions in this show do not necessarily reflect the views of WNIN staff or board of directors, or, for that matter, Purdue fans, Evansville fans, USI fans, Louisville fans, and certainly not Duke fans.